Experience or enthusiasm? What's more important in baseball? Is it having the reigning MVP?
Justin Verlander is locked and loaded.
Or the right rookie to steal the show? The threat of the Triple Crown's newest member?
That's got a chance! Go!
Or the newest clubhouse to threaten the best? Logic suggests training outweighs the untrained, that veterans outshine the green. But this is October, an electrifying time where rules can be broken.
The magical season continues.
Where unconventional thinking can outsmart conventional wisdom. And as history reminds us, where anything can happen.
Welcome to MLB Postseason Baseball. We come to you from Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan, where the postseason returns with the Tigers, who won the American League Central during the regular season. Tiger fans are ready. It's Game 1 of the ALDS between the Oakland A's and the Detroit Tigers. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, along with Buck Martinez. Jamie Maggio will join us in a bit. But let's start with the Tigers. 45 years in between Triple Crown winners. An amazing story for an amazing guy, the Miguel Cabrera.
Well, he sure is, Don. And Cabrera is the guy that has hit ever since he came to the big leagues. As a 20-year-old with the Florida Marlins, he has a .318 career average, and he put a capper on it this year with that Triple Crown award. He can absolutely carry this team single-handedly. On the other side of the baseball is Justin Verlander. Verlander's a guy that can really shut down the offense. Verlander was the Triple Crown winner for the pitchers last year. This season, he's second in the American League in the AL. He's led the league in strikeouts. But Verlander is making his 9th career postseason start, just 3-3. The Tigers have lost their last 3 game ones in the postseason. Verlander has to beat the A's if Detroit intends to knock them off in this series.
Well, for the Oakland A's, 44 wins on the road. In fact, they played 17 of 20 games on the road in September. This is a team that played well to get here, and certainly they did it with their great rookie pitching staff.
They have 8 rookies on this roster for the postseason, and they'll send a rookie to the mound in Jared Parker. Parker pitched well down the stretch. He beat the Angels, the Orioles, and he beat Texas twice in September. He went 4-0. He also keeps the ball in the ballpark. Just 11 home runs allowed this season, which is huge against the Detroit Tigers, who lean heavily on the long ball.
A's and Tigers next, postseason baseball, right here on TBS. A's. Right now, the breeze 11 to 18 miles per hour, west-northwest, and humidity at 54%, and the forecast more of the same. Let's check in field level with Jamie Maggio.
All right, thanks, Don. You know, it might appear that the magic and momentum is on Oakland's side heading into this series after the comeback from 13 games behind late in June, and then, of course, the takedown of the Rangers to win the division on the final day of the regular season. But don't forget that the Tigers' postseason outlook was pretty bleak in mid-September. They were in a dogfight with the White Sox. In fact, Justin Verlander said, hey, we played the last month like it's the postseason with our backs against the wall, playing must-win games. And I think that bodes well for us heading into the playoffs. Don, back to you.
All right, Jamie, thank you very much. As the Oakland A's are coming to bat here in the top half of the first inning, let's check out their starting lineup for tonight's Game 1. It is Coco Crisp leading it off in center field with Stephen Drew at shortstop and batting second. Yoenis Cespedes is in left field batting third. Brandon Moss at first base. Been a great story. He's in the cleanup spot. He's got a lot of power. With Josh Reddick in right field for the Oakland A's. Josh Donaldson at third base. Seth Smith is the designated hitter batting out of the 7th spot for the A's. Derek Norris, the catcher, he bats 8th with Cliff Pennington moving from short to second base. That's a big story for the Oakland A's so far this season. Well, Justin Verlander, who is always a big story, is on the mound for Game 1.
Verlander will make his 9th career postseason start. He finished up the season 17-8. Another great year in ERA, 2.64. He led the American League in strikeouts. He's a power pitcher, and he will come right at you. He will try to establish his fastball. He's got fastball, curveball, slider, and a great changeup.
Interesting in that Verlander led the American League in strikeouts, and the Oakland A's led the American League in strikeouts. We'll see how that works out today in Game 1.
Coco Crisp will start things off.
259 average, 11 homers and 46 runs driven in during the regular season. Always a threat if he can get on as he takes strike one, and we are underway in the American League Division Series. Crisp, an important part of this team, started the year in left field for the Oakland A's, but then moved into center field only because Yoenis Cespedes only had played center field, and they wanted him to be comfortable in the beginning of the year. But he has since moved to left and Crisp to center, one of the game's best center fielders, as Verlander does not miss by much. And the count evens here to Coco Crisp.
This is the 3rd start of the season that Verlander's made against Oakland, but Crisp was not in the lineup the last time they faced him. He was dealing with that pink eye.
Swing and a miss, tardy on the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 1-2.
When you think about missing this guy in the start in September, and then they didn't have Cespedes in May. Today they have both of those key players of their offense back in the lineup against Verlander. That's huge for Oakland.
Verlander, of course, starting the All-Star game for the American League. That did not go well in Kansas City as Coco Crisp dives one to deep right down the right field line towards the corner, and that ball is gone. What a start for the A's. Coco Crisp takes one out of the yard. At 11 during the regular season, but it puts the A's on top 1-0.
Well, we mentioned how Crisp is so important to this team, batting in the top of the order. And you talk about setting a tone for a series. A 95-mile-an-hour heater led her high, and he jumped all over it. Crisp has the ability to hit home runs, but more than anything, he right now has thrown down the gauntlet to the Tigers.
Here is Stephen Drew, takes strike one. That's the 4th leadoff home run in 2012 for Coco Crisp. And Verlander, 16 first inning runs, 2nd most allowed of any inning, and here he is giving up a run to the first batter he faces in the series. There's a pitch in there for a strike to Stephen Drew.
Stephen Drew has really solidified this ball club, not only with his presence in the batting lineup, but at shortstop he has really taken the pressure off the infield defense.
What an acquisition that was on August 20th from the Diamondbacks. It allowed them to move Pennington from shortstop to second base, and that seemed to change a lot defensively for the A's, who are not very good defensively this season.
Not at all, and they had a lot of problems on the inner defense, and Bob Melvin knew they had to improve their infield defense to support this rookie-laden pitching staff.
Drew had spent his first 6+ seasons with the Diamondbacks. Arizona's #1 pick, 15th overall in 2004. And he comes over and takes over at shortstop. He, of course, had the ankle fracture a year ago that still bothers him on occasion. He's not 100%, even at this stage. 1-2 is to left, where Quentin Berry is out there. And he puts it away for out number 1.
Let's take a look at the defense behind Justin Verlander. A lot of speed in the outfield with Berry in left, Austin Jackson in center, and Andy Dirks in right. They really can cover ground, but the concern is on the infield. The infield doesn't have great range. They've allowed 74 unearned runs. That's the second most. Only Cleveland allowed more unearned runs than the Tigers. And Alex Avila is handling Justin Verlander, but the range is a concern for this infield of the Tigers.
You mentioned the speed for the outfielders, and it is something that is definitely necessary in this big outfield here at Comerica Park, and one that Curtis Granderson had roamed for a number of years now. Austin Jackson out there in center field, and we'll remind fans here at Comerica Park, straightaway center, 420 feet away.
Yeah, it's a big yard, and Austin Jackson is a Gold Glove worthy center fielder. He can really cover the ground gap to gap, and he's got a couple of young outfielders in the corners that can also really cover ground.
Yoenis Cespedes will take a breaking ball that misses inside as him spinning out of the box. Look at his numbers from his first full year in the majors. 292, 23 homers, 82 runs batted in. And Bob Melvin said today before the game he knew day one of spring training that Cespedes was the real deal.
Yeah, you can look at him, and when he steps in the box against Verlander, Melvin said, you know, when you watch him walk onto the field, you can say he's got a presence about him. And he really adjusted halfway through his first big league season. He's become much more selective, much more patient, and he is really strong. He can put a charge in the baseball. Hit 23 home runs this year and drove in 82.
He's fouled back to the screen at 96 miles an hour. You know, watching Verlander over the years, Buck, it is amazing to me how he can start the game 94 to 96, but he's one of the few guys in the majors who at the end of his outing, 7th, 8th inning, can throw even harder.
Yeah, he has the ability to throw 97, 98, 99 late in the ball game. He prepares himself very well in the offseason, and he envisions himself as a 200 inning, 200 strikeout guy every single year. And it takes quite a toll on your body, but he is able to maintain that velocity and pitch deep into the ball games.
Breaking ball in the dirt. And a full count now to Cespedes. Leadoff home run for Coco Crisp as the A's off to the fast start here in the first inning. Stephen Drew is fly to left, so one down, and a battle here between Verlander and Cespedes. In the dirt, ball 4, and Cespedes earns a 1-out walk.
Now, don't be surprised that the A's have hit a home run already. They've hit 112 home runs since the All-Star break, and they have a lot of power. This is not their power guy, but they'll certainly take a leadoff home run from Coco Crisp. But now you're talking about the middle of the order. Brandon Moss steps in. He has been a tremendous story for this Athletics ball club this season.
379 since September the 1st for Brandon Moss. 291 season, 21 homers as they check on Cespedes at first base.
Cespedes can really run. 16 of 20 in steals. You can see he put that brace on, put the head first slide. You want to make sure you don't jam your wrist, and he's had wrist problems this season.
Well, the Oakland A's on June the 1st were just 36 and 41. You look to July where things really turned around for the A's. They went 19 and 5. And for Bob Melvin, that's when things started to pick up. They were a 500 team at the All-Star break. A great second half, an incredible September. That's a little closer than you'd like at first base, but Cespedes just back. It's a nice move by Verlander.
Yeah, he's very quick. Verlander, very good athlete on the mound, and that is closer than Ty Waller, the first base coach, wants it.
Moss takes a strike over the inside corner.
Verlander has allowed 16 stolen bases in 20 attempts. He's a little deliberate, and he's not ever really overly concerned about the stolen bases because he can strike out batters. He's not really that concerned that if Cespedes happens to steal, he can strike out the next batter.
No throw dug out by fielder at first base. Moss mentioned his 21 home runs. He was third in the A's in home runs despite playing in only 84 games with the A's. That'll miss outside.
Chili Davis has done a great job with Brandon Moss. Chili Davis is the hitting coach for Oakland. And he had Moss in the Boston minor league system. And he said at some point, this kid is going to help us this year. And sure enough, Moss came up and hit those home runs in just 265 at bats.
Moss, a guy who had started in Boston, was part of the Manny Ramirez deal. Ended up in Pittsburgh, part of the Jason Bay going to Boston transaction.
Well, one thing that's always been intriguing about Brandon Moss is his power. Power is hard to find. You just have to find a way to unleash it.
20th pitch of Verlander is strike 3, and Brandon Moss picks up his first K.
Looked like a changeup, and Verlander has the entire complement of pitches, and he can back off that fastball and get great movement, 88 miles an hour, but that is the changeup. And you can see the late sink takes it off the plate and beyond the end of the bat for Moss.
So 2 down here in the first inning for Josh Reddick. A check on Cespedes, back to the bag. Reddick at the plate coming into the year with 143 games of major league experience over 3 seasons with the Red Sox in Boston. And this year a chance to play on an everyday basis. He batted third much of the year, but they let him know early on that good or bad, lefty or righty, you're going to be in there on a daily basis. Bob Melvin talked about it before the game. That seemed to make a lot of difference in his confidence level.
Well, sure. In Boston, it was you better get a few hits so you can play tomorrow. And that was the situation for Josh Reddick. And it's very difficult for anybody to succeed under those kinds of stipulations. But Bob Melvin, I think, has a lot to do with a lot of these guys coming out this year. He never panicked. At one point, the A's lost 9 straight games. But Bob Melvin never changed his demeanor. He just kept that quiet confidence, and the players responded very well.
Verlander missing up top with ball 2. Reddick has not only done it with the bat, he's also done it defensively in the outfield. He's got a great arm. He's third in the American League in assists during the regular season.
This is an important number. 23 pitches already for Verlander, and that's basically what the A's did the last time they faced him. Chili Davis told me yesterday during batting practice that he was really pleased with the way the A's approached Verlander in the last start. He said, we just didn't come up with a big hit. He said, we elevated his pitch count, and Verlander called it his toughest start of the season.
In there for strike 2. Starting to stop at first base for Cespedes, but he doesn't go anywhere. All of a sudden, Reddick is at 2-2.
Which might have been a bit outside by that look. 2-2.
If you're Verlander, you're going to get it on occasion. Won't get that, and it is a full count. Kurt Young, who has done a terrific job for the Oakland A's pitching staff. Looking forward to his rookie Jared Parker on the mound here today in game 1. And so many of the A's rookies swing and a miss. Verlander with back-to-back Ks to end the first inning, but Coco Crisp gets the A's off on the right foot in game 1 of the ALDS with a home run. It's 1-0 A's. Back in Detroit, A's on top, 1-0. Here come the Tigers. Austin Jackson leads it off in center with Quentin Berry in left field. Miguel Cabrera, the Triple Crown winner, at third base with Prince Fielder at first base. Delman Young, the DH. Is Andy Dirks in right field, batting sixth with Johnny Peralta at shortstop. Alex Avila does the catching and bats eighth. And Omar Infante at second base. Bats ninth. Jared Parker ready to work here on the mound in the bottom of the first inning. His first pitch to Austin Jackson is in there for strike one. And one of the great stories of the Oakland A's season in Jared Parker.
Making 29 starts. He went 13-8. That ties his teammate.
By the shortstop, Drew kicked off his glove and into short and left. So Jackson's going to try for two and get there without a problem. Only been around it. And Cespedes kind of overran the baseball. Drew gets a glove on that hot shot, but not enough to grab it as it gets into left.
Austin Jackson has really been a spark at the top of the order. He's refined his approach at the plate, eliminated the leg kick, and it's really allowed him to wait longer and pick up the baseball. He hits it sharply off the glove of Stephen Drew, who's still regaining some of his range after coming back from that terrible broken ankle. And Jackson starts it off with a double off the glove of the shortstop.
The winner at second already for the Tigers. Here is Quentin Berry. And he squares, pulls it back, and takes ball one. Berry hitting at .258 during the regular season. 21 thefts, second among American League rookies. Been a big part in the Tigers season.
21 for 21. He hasn't been caught. And it certainly changed the complexion of this Tiger team when he got regular at-bats.
Didn't make his Major League debut until May 23rd. Squares again, and this time takes the strike. Started games in all three outfield positions for the Tigers during the season, but the majority of his work coming in left field. He appeared 60 times and gets the start here in game one of the ALDS.
Josh Donaldson at third base has really got an interesting position as he tries to keep an eye on Austin Jackson. To turn his body and just peek at second base to see if Jackson's going to break early. But he also has to defend against the possibility of a bunt. That's a tough play for a third baseman. Speed at the top of the order in 1 and 2, and then Thunder in 3 and 4. Pretty good setup for Jim Leland's lineup.
There is 3 in Miguel Cabrera and 4 in Prince Fielder. 2-1 to Berry again. He'll get the bunt down, but foul this time. So fielding it in foul ground. Count is 2-2, and Berry unable to get the job done.
Obviously, in the postseason, execution is really important. You got to be able to take advantage of the leadoff double. Get that guy over, move him up 90 feet, and now Berry's going to have to really focus on trying to pull the ball to the right side of the infield.
He had 6 sacrifice bunts during the regular season. And he grounds one by the third baseman Donaldson into foul ground. Jackson will take third, and Berry will reach. Donaldson was at the lip of the grass at third, and a hot shot right at him.
Top of the order, these two guys will put pressure on the defense because of their speed. You can see Donaldson playing on the edge of the grass has his range cut down because he had to come in to guard against the little chopper. And now the top two guys have set the table for the Triple Crown winner.
Well, Buck, here are the numbers. The Triple Crown for Miguel Cabrera, first time since 1967 for Carl Yastrzemski, and 45 years in between. And you get the feeling that Cabrera's teammates realize how special it is, but some of them wonder if Miguel realizes how special it really is.
Yeah, Prince Fielder was one that talked about it, saying, I don't think he really understands the impact of his accomplishments. And just think about it, 45 years, Carl Yastrzemski. And the oddity is there were back-to-back winners in Triple Crown. Frank Robinson won with the Orioles in '66, and then Carl Yastrzemski in '67 with the Red Sox.
On the ground to short, could be two. Drew to second for one. Little bobble on to first. It is two. Run scores in the back door as Austin Jackson comes in to tie the game.
Yeah, the A's will trade a run for 2 outs in that situation for sure. And this is one thing that has really improved since Stephen Drew's been acquired. The A's ability to turn double plays. This is a routine double play that Drew shuffles to Pennington. You can see the bobble, but Pennington's got a shortstop arm, so he's able to overcome the bobble and the disruption of the timing at second.
Now Prince Fielder stands in and takes the ball down low. Fielder batting in behind Miguel Cabrera all season, and terrific numbers in his own right. 6 consecutive 30-home run season as he hit at .313 and takes a strike over the inside corner.
What a great acquisition Prince Fielder was, and it came because Victor Martinez was lost for the season in off-season workouts. But the owner, Mike Gillich, didn't hesitate once he knew that Martinez was done for the season. Fielder was a free agent. He stepped up big time.
It took a long time for Prince Fielder to find a home during the offseason, and you're right. It seemed like that Victor Martinez situation did increase the interest by the Tigers to the point of a 9-year deal that took place on January 27th for a free agent of that ilk. That's pretty late into the offseason to go.
Well, nobody could afford it. And Mr. Illich stepped up for the Detroit Tigers, and Dave Dombrowski, the general manager, was able to get the deal done very quickly. But he had to have the stamp of approval of the owner. When you're shelling out $214 million, you just can't write a check.
Been amazingly consistent, an everyday player. He's missed only one game over the past 4 seasons, playing in 647 of 648 games between his time here with the Tigers and in Milwaukee, as he takes a pitch up and away. He's 30 home runs, his lowest total since '06. It's still his 6th straight season that he reached the 30 mark, as Jared Parker is ready with a 3-2. And it's fouled to the screen. We'll do it again.
But you make a good point about the lowest total in home runs, but this is his first year in the American League. He's a guy that is a very smart hitter, likes to know who he's facing. It'll take him a while to get acclimated to the pitchers in the American League. But at the same time, while he was adjusting, he just dropped down to .313 average and put up another 30 home run season.
Lifts it in the air out to left center field. Plenty of room for Cespedes out there in left, and he'll put it away to end the first. But the Tigers answer the A's run with a run of their own. Tied 1-1. Score points, compete against your friends, and earn rewards. Download the app by visiting tbs.com/social dugout or text dugout 68398. And Josh Donaldson making his way to the plate as we return to Comerica Park in Detroit. 49 degrees to start the contest here tonight. Game 1 of the American League Division Series, and Josh Donaldson, an interesting guy that had 3 different stints this year with the A's. First 9 games he was hitting at .094 before he was demoted initially. But his 3rd stint of the year, much better, hitting at .290 in 47 games, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs. In his 3rd stint, and here he is with a start at 3rd base in Game 1 of the ALDS.
He's done a good job. He started out as a catcher. Actually made 3 starts behind the plate and didn't fare well early on. They used him at 3rd base because Scott Sizemore, who they planned on playing 3rd, tore up his knee in spring training.
This is out to the big center field. Austin Jackson back there. It'll take him to the track. But again, it's 420 to straightaway center. You got to hit it a ton. Donaldson hit it well, but he's out number 1 of the inning.
Before this series is over, we're going to see some spectacular plays in the outfield. Both of these teams have outfielders that can really go get it. They both have outstanding center fielders, and the corner outfielders are very athletic. So before this series is over, you're going to see some spectacular plays in the outfield.
One down here in the 2nd inning as Seth Smith stands in here for the A's. 240 during the regular season, but he had a big season series against the Tigers, which he hit .417. Hired by the A's during the offseason from Colorado. That'll miss for ball 2, 2-0.
He's been struggling a little bit lately over his last 11 games, just 3 for 26 and 14 strikeouts. But everybody gets re-energized as they enter the postseason, and it'll just take one swing of the bat to make memories and erase the thoughts of those 14 strikeouts.
That's a strike in there at 93, and it's 2-1. First 5 years of his major league career with the Rockies. In the postseason twice with Colorado. Most recently in 09 and of course in 07, an incredible run by the Rockies. Swing and a miss. That one's by him at 94.
I talked to Seth Smith this morning about his background as a football player, and he said, I love the contact. He played at Mississippi as backup quarterback behind Eli Manning, and he said, I think that helps me stay calm.
Sends this foul. We mentioned in the 7 games against the Tigers, he hit at .417 during the season series. 2 home runs in one of them coming off Justin Verlander, and that was in Oakland back in May. One of the 2 home runs he hit in the season series. So he does have a little bit of history here against Verlander.
Yeah, he's a good fastball hitter, and of course you're going to get some fastballs from Verlander.
In the dirt, and it's a full count.
Alex Avila does a great job of corralling those breaking balls in the dirt. That allows Verlander to really throw it with maximum effort. He doesn't have to worry about a ball bouncing by Avila if he has a runner on. And Alex has done a perfect job and still feeling the effects of last season's knee problem. He will deny that it's been a problem, but he is certainly not 100% recovered from his knee problems from a year ago.
3-2 is just going to miss, and down to first base goes Smith. That is 2 walks now allowed by Verlander, and an inning and a third, and we'll see where this last pitch ended up.
There's that fastball. It was well out of the zone, down and away. A lot of movement on that fastball. You can see 96 with that kind of movement's ridiculous. That's the stuff that Verlander features on a regular basis. You see that start after start from him.
One down, Smith at first, and Derek Norris, the batter, the catcher for the A's. Norris has really done a very good job. A lot of these young pitchers for the Oakland A's, young himself as well.
He's 23, and there was a lot of controversy when they traded their veteran Kurt Suzuki away mid-season and turned things over to Derek Norris, but Norris has handled it well. think another thing that really helps him is the fact that Bob Melvin was a former catcher, and he can set up a game plan and give him ideas during the middle of a game. And Melvin told us that he and Kurt Young really work hard with Norris, trying to get him relaxed and confident behind the plate.
And for Norris, never played above Double-A prior to this season. He's off and takes strike 2.
Don't tear ACL just standing in the box. It might actually happen.
And for Norris, he didn't make his A's debut until June 21st.
He comes into this series swinging a hot bat. He's had 2 home runs and driven in 8 in his last 8 games.
And the dirt evens at 2-2.
You can see the way that Verlander's approaching him. They're aware he can handle a fastball, which is the case with most young players coming into the big leagues. Pretty much feel that everybody can handle a fastball, and if you see that they are handling that pitch, you're going to go right to the breaking balls, and I wouldn't be surprised if they throw him another breaking ball right here.
On the ground, deep short as Peralta goes to second, and they're able to get the force out there. Infante covers, and they force out Smith. Norris will reach on the fielder's choice, but now 2 down in the inning.
This is the range factor that's going to be an issue throughout this series, and Peralta gets to the ball. But had he been able to get there a little quicker, maybe they have a chance at turning 2 with Norris running. You see, it takes him a step or 2 before he can get the throw off to Infante. They get the lead runner, but that's all they can get. So that'll be something to watch as this series develops.
So 2 down here in the second inning as Norris gains his lead at first. Here's Cliff Pennington. Pennington batting out of the number 9 spot. Now the second baseman for the A's.
See the 19-7 record with him starting at second base, and with the acquisition of Stephen Drew, they could move him over to second and use his range and arm strength to solidify that position.
Average slipped nearly 50 points this season after hitting at 264 last year. He hit just 215 in 2012. Played at shortstop past 3 seasons before making the move to second this year. Verlander has jumped ahead of him 0-2.
Pennington has never had a hit against Verlander. He's 0 for 13.
Pennington won't have one this time either. Strikes out at a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to end the inning. Inning and a half done from Detroit. Game tied up 1-1 in Game 1 of the ALDS. 1-1 score here from Detroit. I want to remind you to watch bonus camera angles for the Division Series and ALCS games with postseason.tv. Get started now at MLB.com. Strike one into Delman Young. Gets it started here in the bottom of the second inning. Delman Young, Andy Dirks, and Johnny Peralta here for the Tigers in this 1-1 game. Young, the DH for the Tigers.
Delman had a good postseason a year ago. And you can see his numbers, fourth among DHs for American League with 74 ribbies. But last year, he had 5 home runs in 9 postseason games. We mentioned that Jared Parker doesn't give up any home runs. He allowed just 11 all season long.
Sharply hit, diving at short as Drew gets up. The throw is going to be dug out on the other side by Brandon Moss. Nice play on both ends.
Stephen Drew fractured his ankle, and there was some doubt in his mind whether he'd be able to come back and play again. He had surgery, but he says with every game he's getting better range at shortstop, and he shows it right there. Pops to his feet very quickly and gets some help from Brandon Moss over at first. Well, when you have range and you're in a key position like shortstop, then you have an ankle injury. You just never know if you're going to get that extra step back.
One down for Andy Dirks. First pitch swinging as he skies one to left, but Cespedes is out there, and there are 2 outs in the second inning. 4 in a row now retired by Jared Parker, who settles into this outing. There's 2 down in the second inning for Johnny Peralta, making his way to the plate here for the Tigers. Peralta with a .239 average during the regular season, his lowest since his rookie season of 2003 when he hit .227, and that was his season with the Cleveland Indians. This is coming off a year in which he made his first All-Star team when he hit .299, 21 home runs, 86 RBIs last year. Ground one out on a couple of hops to Drew at short, and it's a 1-2-3 second inning for Jared Parker. We are through 2 in game 1 of the ALDS. All tied at 1.
reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Back at Comerica Park in Detroit as we head to the top half of the third inning. Game tied 1-1. And it is the top of the A's order. Coco Crisp, Stephen Drew, and Yoenis Cespedes to face Verlander here in the third inning of this 1-1 game. Coco Crisp started the game with a solo home run to right field, down the right field line right by the 3:30 marker. The A's are 10-0 when he homers this year as he takes the strike. Good start to this game for the A's, but the Tigers come back, tie the game 1-1. Verlander at 45 pitches as he deals with his first batter of the third inning. And ahead of Crisp, 1-2.
It's exactly what Oakland wanted to do. Elevate Verlander's pitch count. Now, he's a horse. He can throw 120 pitches, but at the same time, you just wonder what the quality of his pitches will be late. And Oakland has had exactly the type of early start against Verlander that they were looking for.
Verlander 12-3 in games he has started here at Comerica Park this season. The home run in the first inning, first batter that he faces from Coco Crisp, and Coco had 11 during the regular season, but his first of the postseason, and quite a start for the Athletics.
Coco Crisp missed that last game Verlander pitched because of an eye infection. He had pink eye that really knocked him out for quite a while. And we mentioned Cespedes did not play in Verlander's first game back in May. So now they have both of the key components of their offense in this lineup tonight.
And Coco Crisp missing from September 19th through the 27th with the pink eye, 9 straight games. But he returned in a very big way. 400 average in his final 6 games of the season. It's 10 for 25 with 4 doubles and 9 runs scored, and a big part of the reason that the A's didn't need to have to play in the wild card and just outright won the division from the Texas Rangers in an incredible last weekend of the season. 2-2 is skied to right. This time it'll stay in the yard, though. Andy Dirks, the right fielder for the Tigers, puts it away for out number 1.
See Andy Dirks talking to Austin Jackson about how difficult it was to find this baseball. He's making his 14th start in right field. You can see the hesitation. The lights haven't taken full effect. There's a gray sky high above Comerica, and you can see him throwing his hands to the side. That's the universal sign for I have no idea where it is.
Well, it's twilight time right now here in Detroit. And you can tell Andy Dirks did not see that. 1 out in the inning. Stephen Drew takes a look at ball 1. And Drew flying to left in the first inning, 0 for 1. For 6+ seasons with the Diamondbacks, he jolts one out towards the gap in left center field. That's going to get down. Over to plate is Austin Jackson, but easily into second base standing. With a 1-out double is Stephen Drew.
Stephen Drew, when he came back from his ankle injury, didn't have many games in the minor leagues, and he felt like his timing was really hurt because of that. And now with more games under his belt, the timing's coming around. That's a good pitch. Sinking ball down and away from him, drives it through the gap in left center and splits the outfielders. And Drew is one of those guys that's got gap-to-gap power, and every once in a while can really turn on one. But now he's in scoring position for Cespedes.
Cespedes walked in the first inning, 1 of 2 walks allowed by Verlander in the first 2 1/3 innings. And Cespedes takes a look at strike 1.
Well, that's a hard breaking ball, 87-mile-an-hour slider. There's never been a question about Verlander's stuff. It's been excellent from the first moment he stepped on a big league mound. And now he has learned how to pitch, and he can really pitch. He knows how to add and subtract with his fastball. He knows how to add and subtract with his breaking ball. he's gotten to the point where he can read hitters. When they're starting to catch up to his pitches, he knows how to counteract it. And he was a Cy Young Award winner and MVP last year, won the pitching triple crown, and he carried that right into this season.
Stephen Drew with his lead at second base. 0-2 pitch, grounded towards third base. Cabrera looks the runner back and then fires to first for the out. 2 down. We talked to Jim Leland before the game about Miguel Cabrera moving to third base, and he said, well, the only problem has been his range and lack thereof, but boy, he got comfortable there at third base in a hurry.
Well, he loves his arm. He's got soft hands, and Leland told us he has a great arm. He said he makes it look easy, and when Fielder was signed, they needed a place to play Cabrera. Cabrera's been wanting to play third base for the last couple of years. He likes playing at third base, and he really worked at it hard this spring. And he doesn't have great range. As Leland told us, he said, hey, he's not Brandon Inge over there. Doesn't have that kind of range, but he catches everything he gets to.
And unfortunately, he had a bad start in spring training, got a bad hop that actually hit him in the eye in spring training game against the Phillies in Clearwater. And it was not a good beginning for him in spring training, but boy, he's had a very good year defensively at third base.
I really thought that was going to be a problem when I saw him get hit in the face right out the bat. I thought that might really set him back, but he never wavered. Got right back on the horse, and he's been good.
First time since 2007 that he has played primarily at third base. So down in the inning, Drew at second base and Brandon Moss ahead on the count here, 2-0. Moss will take it in the dirt, 3-0. Talking about the bad hop that Cabrera took at third base during the spring, March 19th. And it would bloody his eye, cutting his eye, and relatively fortunate he had the glasses on as it turned out.
Yeah, he's a tough kid, and he wants to be on the field all the time, but you can see it cut his eye. And you're right, he had those glasses on, probably saved the possibility of an eye injury.
Ended up missing a week of spring training. Moss thought he had ball 4, but he gets the bad news from Jim Reynolds. That last offering in 97.
Yeah, take a look at this last pitch, and once again, that late movement, not only is it a challenge for hitters, it's a challenge for umpires. You see that late movement right at the end, looked like it took it out of the strike zone.
This will be the 60th pitch of the outing for Verlander, and here comes Avila to talk it over. As you mentioned, this is exactly what the A's want to do, drive this pitch count up early on Verlander.
When you look at Verlander's log over the course of the season, he's thrown as many as 132 pitches. That came against the Yankees back on August 6th. He had a 14 strikeout game in that game, pitching 8 innings. But he'd like to stay around 115 to 120. That's reasonable.
One Oakland A has swung at the first pitch in this game. He has a swing here for Brandon Moss. There's a full count now. They've been very patient in dealing with Verlander. And it is full here to Moss, with Drew at second and 2 down. Swing and a miss, battles back, strikeout. Moss picks up his 4th K. They leave Drew at second. We're tied at 1 after 2.5 from Motown. step ahead. Get alerts whenever something big happens with your teams. Check out the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report on the App Store or Google Play. Now we play on here to the last half of the third inning in Game 1 of the American League Division Series from Comerica Park in Detroit. 8-9-1 for the Tigers, and Alex Avila takes strike one from Jared Parker. Avila, who's so good defensively, ended up hitting .243 during the season. 9 homers, 48 runs batted in. Threw out 34 runners this season. Second straight season he led the American League in that category. Last year he threw out 40 would-be base stealers.
He's a good athlete. He was a former third baseman and made the conversion once he got into pro ball. He actually started down at the University of Alabama. As his junior year, he made the conversion behind the plate, and very athletic to begin with. And you see a lot of converted catchers now in the big leagues. Russell Martin's another one that comes to mind. And you have to really have athletic catchers behind the plate. And you can see in this series and in the postseason, there's a lot of real good catching.
Yeah, it takes strike 3. We had the chance to catch up with the A's manager, Bob Melvin, in between innings. Bob, getting ready here for the third inning. Your thoughts so far on Jared Parker in this game so far tonight?
Throwing the ball good. You know, like any starter, he tried to get him out of his rhythm early on. Got a double play out ball out of Cabrera where he needed to, and he's been throwing the ball really well since.
Bob, Coco Chris got you off to a great start with that leadoff home run. How important is it to have him back in the lineup here in this postseason?
Yeah, he's huge for us. Everybody feeds off of him, whether he's on base, taking a little concentration off the pitcher as far as running, drives balls. He can hit balls out of the ballpark. He hits good pitching. He's really big for us.
What a terrific job Bob Melvin has done with this Oakland A's team, and at the helm now, his first full season as a manager for the Oakland A's, as he took over 99 games the year before. And Melvin has been terrific. Who would have imagined the Oakland A's would win the West when you're starting the season with all the additions that the Los Angeles Angels made? Pujols, C.J. Wilson, a team that was already pretty good. And then you take a look at a Texas Rangers team that had been to the World Series each of the last 2 years. I don't think anybody imagined Oakland was coming out of there as the AL West champion.
As late as last week.
Friday.
I think the one thing that's really interesting is Bob's a great fit here. You know, he's a good spot. Grew up in the Bay Area. A Palo Alto native. Went to high school in the Bay Area and really understands what the Oakland A's are all about.
Cal Berkeley, this one lined to the left. And it's going to get down to the corner in the 345 marker. Cespedes will dig it out, but not before Omar Infante standing at second base with a one-out double. So the number 9 man getting to Jared Parker here for the extra base hit.
And it looks like a breaking ball just kind of spins on the inner part of the plate. And you can see he wanted it down and away, and he left on a near half. And Infante, being a veteran, jumped all over it. That spinning breaking ball is a pitch that everybody loves to see. You can see Norris was sliding to the outside part of the plate. Infante got the hanger and ripped it down into the left field corner.
One out, Infante at second base, and here is Austin Jackson. Jackson thought about it, but holds off and takes the ball high. Jackson 300 during the regular season. Tonight has already contributed with a double, scored the Tigers' run in the bottom of the first inning. Led the American League the second straight season in triples.
Now, Jackson really did a good job of refining his approach at the plate. We mentioned he eliminated a leg kick. It was really challenging for timing. And he never really could get the timing down. Now he's very quiet at the plate and has a lot longer to judge pitches.
Jackson missed 21 games from May to June with an ab strain. His first DL trip in the majors. 135 of his starts came as the Tigers' leadoff hitter, and that's where he is tonight for Game 1 of the ALDS. Pops it up right side of the infield. Brandon Moss and Cliff Pennington, and Pennington takes over and handles out number 2, 2 down.
Well, that was a good move by Pennington, and the A's really have a unique situation. They have two shortstops playing in the middle of the diamond. So Pennington, whose background is as a shortstop, just came in hard and called Brandon Moss off of that. I mean, the middle guys are your best fielders, and watch Pennington. Once he sees where it is, he comes in quickly and calls Moss off it. And when you have two shortstops, you're going to really have a couple of guys that can work the middle of the infield.
2 down, Omar Infante at second base, and here is Quentin Berry. Reached on the infield hit in the first inning. One of 3 hits put together by the Tigers so far tonight. Berry, who had 7 minor league seasons before he cracked the majors in May of this year. 261 stolen bases in the minor leagues. He stole 40 bases in the Southern League in 2011. And here he is in the majors in 2012 and put together a pretty good year for the Tigers.
Well, he gives them that speed dimension, something they've missed for a while. Grew up in San Diego, and he's a guy that can really change a ball game just by being on base, and certainly a distraction if he's on first with Cabrera hitting.
0-2 outside.
And this is the guy that Parker has to get to end the inning. You don't want to go any deeper than Quentin Berry. You got to hit his way on, and you want to face Cabrera with nobody on to start the next inning.
Parker ready with a 1-2. That's downstairs, 2-2. Parker during the regular season tied for the team lead in wins with Tommy Malone. They each had 13 wins. His 29 starts, second only to Malone. Parker originally a first-round pick, 9th overall by Arizona, with a 5-player deal. So Breslow and Trevor Cahill head to Arizona. It's 2-2, will miss, full count.
One thing to remember is the Oakland outfielders and how well they throw. Johannes Cespedes had 9 assists in the outfield. He's got a terrific arm. And then the right fielder, Josh Reddick, as Don mentioned earlier, 3rd in the American League with 15 outfield assists.
Infante at second, 2 down. Here's a payoff pitch. Softly grounded down the first baseline. Parker will flip it with his glove into foul ground, and it'll score Infante. A mistake there for Parker. He was trying to flip it with his glove, and he flips it into foul ground, and the Tigers take a 2-1 lead.
Once again, the speed of the top of the Tiger order putting pressure on the A's defense. You can see in a rush to get the ball, and I think he was trying to scoop it, as you mentioned. You see he tries to flip it, never really had it in his glove, but the speed of Berry forced Parker into that error.
Single and error charge to the pitcher. No RBI on the play, but it has the Tigers on top 2-1.
And now you got what you didn't want. Cabrera hitting with a man on base.
He bounced into the 6-4-3 twin killing in the first inning as the check on Berry. He's got good speed. We talked about his speed earlier.
Here's where a veteran catcher would call timeout and go out and say, wait a minute. Let's slow things down, Jared. Give him a chance to regroup before you work to Cabrera.
Cabrera spins out of the box. 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know that Parker's heart's beat, not only because he had this sprint to first base, but now he's got to deal to Cabrera. This would be a perfect time just to go out, talk to him a little bit, say, hey, take a deep breath. We can get out of this thing, even though we're dealing with the Cabrera.
The check and Berry back to the bat.
Kurt Young, the pitching coach, and Bob Melvin.
In there for a strike, even though Cabrera was kind of spinning out. Evans at 1-1.
Well, he is one of the best in baseball at setting up pitchers. He sees this ball all the way, but you can see he just acts, oh, that's really inside. He is a dangerous hitter on the outer half of the plate.
Bigger lead at first for Berry, 21 out of 21 in stolen bases in the regular season. Takes off, pitch inside, the throw from Norris not going to be close. Berry was 21 out of 21, gets his first theft of the postseason.
Great jump at first base and a pretty good pitch for Norris to throw up and in, but he bounces it to second and it's way late. No chance at all, and Berry has still not been caught this season. You can see how late that throw is, and Pennington had to wait for the ball in the dirt.
Runner at second, 2 down. Up top again. Fastball at 94, but it's 3-1 now to a guy who just won the Triple Crown.
Dangerous territory. He hit 356 with runners in scoring position, and he's got protection.
This fielder who protected Ryan Braun a year ago spent this season protecting Miguel Cabrera. 3-1 is ball 4. We talk about this 3-4 combination, and Cabrera has got the comfort of having fielder batting behind him. But Ryan Braun was the guy that enjoyed that protection last year in his run to the MVP.
Yeah, and you just know the presence of that big bat behind both Braun and Cabrera have had a lot to do with their success. Mind you, they're great hitters in their own right, but the pitchers were just reluctant to pitch around them consistently with fielder backing them up.
You pick your poison as the opposing manager. Who do you want to deal with? That's first and second. The run in with 2 down, and fielder takes a look at ball 1.
Obviously, they're as good as any 3-4 combination in baseball.
Jared Parker, 24 pitches in the first 2 innings, about to throw his 24th of this inning alone. Fielder will flip it foul off to the left. Donaldson will go as far as he can, but it's well back into this Tigers crowd.
The A's started rookies from the final 14 games of the regular season. And at the end, Bob Melvin said, well, Malone and Parker aren't rookies anymore. They pitch so much that they're not rookies. But when you get into a postseason start for the first time against the Tigers, it can be intimidating.
54 victories for the rookie starters. This is in the air. The shallow center, late break for Crisp. He's coming in, and out goes Pennington, the second baseman, to make the catch. He ended up with the best chance as they come together in shallow center. The Tigers get a run and take a 2-1 lead at the end of 3.
2 on, 2 outs. Prince Fielder pops one into center. Coco Crisp breaks back in center field because of the power. The only guy that's got a shot is the second baseman, Cliff Pennington. He knew that with the crack of the bat. He calls for it, and Stephen Drew is right there with him, but Pennington makes the catch to end the inning.
So a big play there as it keeps it a 1-run advantage for the Tigers, who gather a run in the bottom of the 3rd inning and take a 2-1 lead. Josh Reddick leading it off here in the top of the 4th inning for the Athletics. He's a strikeout victim back in the 1st inning and takes a look at strike from Verlander, leaving the count at 1-1. Reddick came into the 2012 season with only 143 games of Major League experience and was spread out over 3 years with the Boston Red Sox. 1-1 is high, and it's 2-1.
Reddick, very talented player, and we talked about all the other things he can do besides swing the bat. He's got speed, he'll steal bases for you, covers ground in the outfield, and he's taken full advantage of this opportunity with the A's.
Very good in the season series against the Tigers at .357 with 2 homers. 5 RBIs in the 7 games the 2 teams played during the regular season. Reddick takes a 3-1 for strike 2.
I think Reddick wore down at the end of the season. He's just a little guy. He weighs about 180 pounds, and the rigors of playing every single day and the way he plays, I think, caught up to him in September.
Ball 4, did it go? No. They check at 3rd. Eric Cooper said he didn't offer, and down to 1st goes Reddick. It's a 3rd base on balls given up by Verlander. It appeared to be a good call from Eric Cooper. He had the chance to catch up with Jim Leyland, the manager of the Tigers, moments ago. Jim, I know the pitch count is not a big deal for a guy like Justin Verlander, but 61 through the first 3. Are you concerned about that at all?
Sure. Yeah, I'd like him to be a little more economical, and I'd like to get a few more quick outs. But it is what it is at this point. We'll watch it close.
Jim, top of your order, has been on base tonight. How much does that change what the middle guys can do for you?
Well, obviously that's important. The little guys get on, the big guys knock them in. So that's a pretty good formula, for winning games. So hopefully we can get a few more guys on and then get the big boys up there with guys in scoring position.
Jim Leyland doing a terrific job here with the Tigers, a team that started well, had a rough middle of the season, and ended well. But when the Chicago White Sox were on top of the division, there was a lot of talk about Jim Leyland's future perhaps here with the Tigers, which seems sort of ridiculous at this point in the kind of career he's had here in his major league career, and especially here in Detroit.
Yeah, it was really interesting, all the criticism he took during the course of the season, to the point of when they would post the lineup, fans would get on the social network and talk about, why'd you start this guy? How come he's starting that guy? He should have this guy batting 3rd and that guy batting 4th. A lot of criticism, but when you look at what he's done, he's taken his team to the postseason 4 times now and just missed a 5th with that 1-game playoff that he lost. And this is his 7th season. He's done a pretty good job.
The Tigers have lost game 1 in each of their last 3 postseason series. 2006 World Series against St. Louis, 2011 ALDS against New York, and 2011 ALCS against Texas. Trying to take care of business tonight and lead it 2-1 right now.
Yeah, this is interesting now. Verlander has thrown 69 pitches. He averages 114 per start, and 9 times he went over 120. Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, understands the value of having Verlander on the mound psychologically, but at the same time, you can't wear him out. And the A's have done just exactly what they wanted to do, make Verlander work. And they did that the last time they faced him. They just couldn't come up with a big hit. So far, that's been the same problem for Oakland. Justin Verlander has started 3 game 1s in the postseason for the Tigers. He is 0-2 himself with a 9 ERA. The Tigers have lost all 3 of those starts.
swing and a miss. 96 miles an hour by Josh Donaldson. Verlander with a 2-2 count now has 4 strikeouts in 3+ innings. He has walked 3. Verlander led the American League in innings pitched and is able to strike out Donaldson. 5th strikeout for Verlander, first out of the 4th inning. Well, tomorrow on MLB Network, it's ALDS Game 2 between the A's and Tigers. Coverage begins tomorrow at noon Eastern, only on MLB Network. Go to MLBnetwork.com for the channel number. One out with Reddick at first base, held on by Prince Fielder. And Seth Smith, the batter, he walked in the 2nd inning, getting his second look at Justin Verlander. First to toss over to first base, and Reddick back to the bag.
Remember, Smith has a home run against Verlander this year, and this Athletics team, although you might not realize it, they've got a lot of pop. They are among the leaders in home runs in the second half of the season.
On the ground right side, ranging is Infante. He'll go to second. They get the lead runner in Reddick. Him going to that side was going to be a tough play, but he makes it to get the lead runner in Reddick for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, and another opportunity for a double play possibility, but you can see the hard slide. Oakland is very aware. If they put pressure on that double play combination around the bag at second, they might force them into a mistake. And Reddick was all over the shortstop with that hard slide. No chance for a return throw to first. But Infante's had some problems since he's rejoined the Tigers, and the Athletics are well aware of that.
So 2 down, Seth Smith at first base, and here is Derek Norris. Came to the A's this offseason from Washington as part of the 6-player deal that saw Gio Gonzalez head to the Nationals. So a deal that has really worked out for both teams.
That's exactly what you hope for when you pick up the phone and call another general manager. Hey, we have a need in this area, and I know you have a concern in that area. And it's worked out for both the Nationals and the Athletics.
One-0 is going to miss, and it's 2-0. You talk about hard slides and cleats up. You may think of Ty Cobb in the statue here at Comerica Park in Detroit. Illustrates just that.
Well, he was one of those guys that was emblematic of how the Tigers played throughout their early years. Josh Reddick gets after it, and this A's team overall, they play hard and they push one another. And Johnny Gomes, who is a part-time role player, certainly has a lot to do with that. Brandon Inge brought some more of that to this team when they picked him up after the Tigers released him.
The pitch is in there for strike 2. When you think about Reddick and the changes that he made from Boston to Oakland, I think that some jumps out at me, and definitely would jump out to Dennis Eckersley back in our studio. Josh Reddick has fabulous moss now that he's a member of the Oakland A's.
It's a California thing.
Yeah, terrific moss, flowing moss.
And X from the Bay Area. He can relate.
2-2 the count to Derek Norris, runner at first. And this is a fly ball out to shallow left. Late break for Berry, but in comes Peralta to make the catch as he ducks back to the short lawn and left. 3.5 done. Tigers have a 2-1 lead. Coverage on TBS continues next. It's game one between the Reds and Giants. Brian Anderson and Joe Simpson, as well as Ron Darling, will have the call from San Francisco. Johnny Cueto matched up against Matt Cain in that action coming up. And, of course, followed by Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan.
Great pitching matchup as they are. Cueto was third in the National League in the ERA. Cain was fourth in the National League. So those two teams lean heavily on their starting pitching.
Delman Young leads it off and gets hit. The hand area for Young. And a pitch that runs in. He'll head on down to first base shaking that hand.
This ball runs up and in on Delman Young, and you can see how he exposed his hand, as these hitters nowadays don't really have the ability to turn their shoulder to that baseball. He exposed his hand, and that's always a risk of a fracture, a broken bone, injured wrist, but they just don't have that repetition of ducking away from inside pitches, and he left his hands right out there over the plate.
Hit 7 times during the regular season, struck for the first time here in the postseason, and aboard to begin things in the fourth. Second time the Tigers have had the lead runner on in the first 4 innings. As Andy Dirks flied to left first time up. Dirks was terrific near Comerica Park during the regular season. He had 347 at home, and then 448 over his last 8 home games, and drives one out to deep left center field. Cespedes calls off crisp and makes the catch out there in left center. A vast outfield here at Comerica Park. That's where balls go to die here in the power alleys, and that is out number 1 of the inning.
Oakland has 3 outfielders that can all play center. And Cespedes started out the season as a center fielder, and many people believe left field is the hardest of the 3 outfield positions because you get a lot of balls that have a lot of hook on them down in that left field corner. But he's made a nice adjustment. The only ball that he really has a lot of trouble with is that ball that's hit straight at him, whether or not to go back or come in on the line drives.
1 out, Young at first base, and Johnny Peralta, the batter, takes a look at strike 1. Jared Parker has been far more economical in his 3 1/3 than Verlander has been to this point. If you're just joining us, Justin Verlander in the first 4 innings has thrown 78 pitches in this contest. As Tigers have a 2-1 lead, you see the lead for Delman Young. That's outside.
The A's have had a base runner on every inning against Verlander, and Jared Parker had a quick second inning and retired the Tigers in order. Got a terrific defensive play at short by Stephen Drew to retire Delman Young to start the second. I mentioned Parker came from the Arizona Diamondbacks in that trade that involved Craig Breslow and Trevor Cahill. And he came across a pretty good pitching coach in Mel Stottlemyre Jr. And he had some adjustments to make, and Mel Stottlemyre was pitching coordinator for the Diamondbacks, and he made some adjustments in his approach. And at one point he had a few questions and got on the phone and talked to Pop a little bit. Mel Stottlemyre, of course, a terrific pitcher in his own right, but a great pitching coach for a long time.
Peralta fouls it off. Parker making his major league debut with the Diamondbacks in September of last year, September 27th against the Dodgers, in a no decision, but didn't allow a run in 5 2/3 innings of work in his first start. And pitched at least 6 innings in 22 of his 29 starts. Made it through the 6th inning in each of his last 6 starts with the A's this season. So he's used to going deep into games. And this guy has had Tommy John surgery, missed all of 2010. And that pitch misses inside to Peralta, who's kind of leaning over.
Well, and the crowd reacted as if Barker was throwing at him intentionally, but you can see it's a breaking ball that slips out of his hand and just spins inside, and Peralta's late to bail out.
Runner goes, and this is driven to deep left. down the line towards the corner, but foul. Cespedes giving chase, but into the first row of seats. A drive down the left field line by Peralta. Delman Young had taken off at first base.
Now, Delman Young's not a base stealer, but I think with Johnny Peralta played and one out, Jim Leyland felt like he could start the runner and possibly avoid an inning-ending double play and maybe get the left-handed hitting Alex Avila to the plate. But Peralta was out in front, hooked it foul.
Yeah, Delman Young just one stolen base in the last 2 years. Was 0 for 2 this year. Very short lead at first base. Taking off again and swinging again is Peralta. Fouled off to the right. Full count.
Jim Leyland told us earlier this afternoon that he's all about getting runners in scoring position, even to the point of stealing ahead Miguel Cabrera, knowing that they'll probably pitch around him. But he said, I'd rather have that guy in scoring position than worry about leaving him at first for protection for Cabrera.
On it goes, swing and a miss, throw down, and Young's going to be out at second base. So he tries 3 times, take it off, and it works out to be a strike him out, throw him out, double play. It's 2-1 Tigers. Nice shot from high above Comerica Park, looking down to Justin Verlander. Swing and a miss from Cliff Pennington to lead off the 5th inning.
Johnny Peralta strikes out, and Derek Norris throws a strike to second. Look at the tag by the second baseman, Cliff Pennington. He went right to that foot of Delman Young for the inning-ending double play.
I was surprised to see him getting a start 3 different times and ending the inning the way it did.
No, I think what they were trying to do is trying to stay out of a double play, and they ran into one. But Peralta struck out. They were thinking if he puts it into play, we'll create a hole on the infield, and that wasn't the case.
And Pennington leading it off here for the A's in the 5th. Coco Crisp, then Stephen Drew participated in the inning. 9-1-2 here for the Athletics. Pennington a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. This one is back under the glove of Verlander and into center field. Pennington's got a base hit, and for the Oakland A's, that is just their 3rd hit of the game.
Good start for the A's as they get another leadoff batter on against Verlander. And that's always important. You make him work out the stretch. You put some pressure on him, play a little hit and run. You got Coco Crisp up there who can handle the bat.
3rd time in 5 innings the A's have had the lead runner on. And Pennington is at first for Coco Crisp. The home run in the 1st, fly to right in the 3rd. This one down and in for ball 1.
Crisp has had a real big impact on this team, not only for what he does as the leadoff batter, but in the outfield. He has really developed a relationship with Cespedes, and now Crisp wants to see the signs from Gallego down at 3rd once again. I'm really sure what he had seen and asked him to go through that sequence of signs again.
3rd trip to the postseason for Coco Crisp. He was with the Red Sox in 2007 and 2008, winning the World Series in Boston in 2007. As he takes a look at his strike, kind of leaning to get a better look, and didn't necessarily agree with Jim Reynolds.
Yeah, he was quick to react too, and the first thing a batter will say, hey, Verlander doesn't need any help. He's got great stuff. Make him throw it over.
Crisp had started 81 games as the A's leadoff hitter, including each of his last 78 starts during the regular season. For the 1st, and diving back is Pennington.
Jim Leyland told us earlier in the game he was concerned about Verlander's elevated pitch count. He said, I'd like to see him have a few economical innings. But that hasn't been the case tonight. This next pitch will be 85.
And this one is flared to left center field. On the move is Barry. It hooks back to him as he makes the catch. And Pennington's back to the bag at first base with now 1 out in the inning. Here's the breakdown per inning for Verlander. And the 1st inning, the toughest for him so far. And that's after a leadoff home run by Coco Crisp. He did strike out 2 in that inning.
Yeah, and strikeouts are going to elevate your pitch count because you throw so many pitches to strike out a batter. But at the same time, you'd like to see your pitcher around 15 to 18 pitches per inning. And that will generally get him into the 7th, possibly 8th inning of a ball game. Jeff Jones, pitching coach, keeping track of those pitches.
And Pennington at first, 1 out for Stephen Drew, who takes ball 1 from Verlander. And Drew started 39 of the final 41 games at shortstop for the A's following the trade. 0 for 10 with runners on base tonight are the Oakland A's. And again, they have only 3 hits in the game, but Verlander has walked 3. And that time a 97-mile-an-hour fastball up that Stephen Drew cannot catch up to.
Yeah, and that's Verlander's MO. When he's in a jam, he can reach back for a little extra. And this is a fastball top of the zone, and you can see it skip right over the bat of Stephen Drew. 97.
During the regular season, with runners on base, Verlander holding opponents to a 212 average, and the strike in there at 96.
Oh, it's nice to have that in reserve.
Yeah.
Verlander threw a 99-mile-an-hour fastball to Brandon Moss to strike him out to end the 3rd.
Ahead of Drew, 1-2. Another check and a little staggered step back to the bag for Cliff Pennington.
Pennington had 15 steals during the regular season.
Strike 3 call. Drew disagrees and says some stuff to Jim Reynolds on the way by, and then some more stuff. He'll take with him the 6th strikeout for Justin Verlander, 2 down.
Well, Verlander's gotten some favorable calls tonight, but this one is not one of them. That ball moved from the inside part of the plate all the way to the outside corner and was knee high. But the A's have seen Verlander get some favorable calls here tonight.
So 2 down here in the 5th. Pennington led off with a single, still at first base, unable to advance. And here's Cespedes. Swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt. Cespedes went in the lineup for the A's. The A's were 82-46 in games that he played in without him. 12-22. He's on the DL for just over 3 weeks in May with a strained muscle in his left hand. Missed 9 games in June with a strained left hamstring. Started a total of 102 games as the A's cleanup hitter. And started the last 12 games of the regular season as a 3-hitter, as he does tonight in Game 1 of the ALDS. 0-1 is on the ground at third. Cabrera will go to second for the force out. That will wrap up the top of the 5th. We're halfway through this one. The home team, the Tigers, up a 2-1 lead. Here's the upcoming schedule brought to you by Miller 64. Well, day baseball from Detroit here tomorrow on MLB Network with a noon start from Detroit. Back with you on Tuesday from O.co Coliseum in Oakland. Necessary Wednesday at Oakland. And Thursday is driven out to deep left center field off the bat of Alex Avila at the wall. That ball is gone. The Tigers catcher who had 9 home runs during the regular season hits one out to left center field and gives the Tigers a 3-1 lead.
We'd mentioned that Barrett Parker had allowed only 11 home runs all season long. 7 of those were to left-handed hitters, and Alex Avila jumps on this high fastball. He got big-time pop, and especially in this yard, you go opposite field as a left-handed batter. That's a big blast and an important run for Detroit.
Two hopper to third that's handled by Donaldson, takes care of Omar Infante. Avila's second postseason home run is this one into the bullpen area here at Comerica Park.
That extra run certainly got more life into that Tiger dugout. Second career postseason home run, as Don mentioned, and a leadoff home run. Parker does a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. He was second to Felix Hernandez for home runs per 9 innings in the American League this year. He did a good job of keeping the ball in the yard, but Avila touched him up there.
Well, the carousel here at Comerica Park. Wonder if they know. The Tigers are taking a 3-1 lead. So much to do here at Comerica Park. Alex Avila knows as they celebrate in the dugout. Tigers with a 3-1 advantage. Austin Jackson waiting on a 2-1. He'll skip through to the backstop.
Well, one thing we know about this Oakland A's team, they're not concerned when they get down. We have seen them come back time and time again. They trailed the Texas Rangers 5-1 at home and came back and took advantage of a Josh Hamilton
down the line. Right, Reddick will lay it out and make the grab. That one was slicing away, but Reddick over to make the play, fully outstretched at the line for the second out. That's the kind of defense this right fielder for the A's can supply.
Great concentration. This ball is slicing away from him. He extends full out and makes the catch just inside the foul line. This is a big yard, and you've got to have fast outfielders to cover ground. Oakland has 3 of them.
So 2 down, bases cleared, and a nice play by Reddick down the line and right. Here's Quentin Berry, who was on twice with 2 infield hits in the game. And takes a look at strike 1. Jared Parker allowed just 11 home runs this season, only twice to be allowed 2 in a game. One of those 2 was in his final start of the regular season. It's up and away. It's a total of 202 innings during the season between AAA and the majors. So well over his previous high, which was 136 and a third. And you kind of wonder as you head into the postseason with that many more innings than he's ever had before, whether or not that's a concern for Bob Melvin and Kurt Young.
Yeah, that's a common concern for all managers and pitching coaches this time of the year. Your young pitchers, just how many innings over are they from their previous high?
That's that one by Berry. Strikes him out to end the inning. But Alex Avila has homered for the Tigers and given Detroit a 3-1 lead. Well, across the street at the Fox Theater, Jerry Seinfeld, who's here in Detroit. We are inside Comerica Park for Game 1, the American League Division Series. And there's been nothing funny about the way the Tigers jumped out here to a 3-1 lead for the Oakland A's. They got Verlander on the mound, and Tigers leading here 3-1. And there's Brandon Moss, Josh Reddick, and Josh Donaldson going to work here in the inning as this one is flared foul into the seats.
Yeah, and the problem once again has been that the Athletics haven't been able to come up with a big hit. They've stranded 5 against Verlander. He's held him to just 3 hits, but he's walked 3 in this game, and Oakland has had some chances, but Verlander has that bulldog mentality that allows him to pitch out of jams.
And Brandon Moss has already struck out twice tonight, and it's down 0-2 as that pitch down by the shoe tops. Struck out in the first, again in the third, both times swinging. He's third on the A's in home runs despite playing in only 84 games. Swing and a miss, strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. Verlander picks up his 7th K of the contest. Let's check in with Jamie Maggio, field level. Jamie?
All right, well, Josh Reddick told me that he learned resiliency from his father, Kenny, who had a power plant accident when Josh was just a baby. He lost both of his hands and actually was pronounced dead twice. Now, when Josh Reddick was struggling earlier this season, he said his dad came out to Oakland, gave him some good advice. He said, go play the backyard game, meaning, you know what, just go out there and play carefree. Now, the twist on this story is because of the accident, the kid in the backyard was being thrown BP by his mother, Cheryl. Josh told me she wasn't all that accurate, so he was beamed quite a bit, but not surprisingly, he's not too fond of being hit by pitches now. But Josh did say the advice worked: just be the kid in the backyard.
That backyard game is always a lot of fun, and that's the way the Athletics play. They got a lot of personality. They're not afraid to show their personality on the field. It's a fun game, and you want to have fun when you play. And some of the best players I played with, Robin Yount, George Brett, Paul Molitor, played against Kirby Puckett. Those guys always enjoyed everything they did on the field. And that can get you back to where you need to be when you remember, hey, I'm having fun doing this, and sometimes you get too overwhelmed in your failures.
And the A's as a group, they're having a lot of fun. And they have in the second half of the season. They've won the American League West. There's a 1-2. Reddick will foul it back to the screen.
And as far as Reddick's mom throwing BP, my mom threw BP to me all the time, but she was pretty good. She had a lot of brothers, and they all played baseball, and she threw BP all the time.
Reddick has struck out and walked tonight, getting his 3rd look at Verlander, and very defensive swing as he sliced it foul. Down 1-2 in the count.
This next pitch for Verlander will be 100. And he has thrown 100 pitches, and the A's have done what they want. But this is what they did last time, and they ended up beating them. He just won't give in.
On the ground, foul again, and it hangs at 1-2.
Tell you what, Verlander can make you take some funny swings. And that was an emergency hack, the last swing by Reddick. That hard breaking ball, he just barely got a piece of it to stay alive. But when you think in the back of your mind, you know he's got 99 in reserve. That'll make you get that bat going early.
That is in there for strike 3, and it's at 98. 8 strikeouts for Verlander. Let's check in with Matt Weiner in Atlanta with an update. Matt. All right, Matt, thanks very much. Couldn't be happier for Terry Francona to see him back on the field. As much of a success as he was in the booth, there's no doubt, Buck Martinez, that Terry Francona, the owner, of 2 world championships belongs in a major league dugout as a manager.
Yeah, it sure does. And certainly he got a raw deal at the end of his tenure in Boston. And it's good to see him back. He deserves to be in a dugout. He's a baseball guy. And he needs to be on the field. And you and I are living proof that anybody can do this, but it's hard to do that job down in the field.
Much harder to be down there.
I can vouch for that.
You have done both.
Well,
I think
congratulations to
better in this job, though,
oh,
don't you?
You sleep much better. Yeah.
Now, Verlander trying to strike out the side. He struck out Moss, struck out Reddick. And he's ahead 0-2. Donaldson. Strike 3. Strikes out the side in order, 9 Ks. It's 3-1 Tigers. They love it in Detroit. Peak Performance brought to you by Nissan, makers of the all-new Altima, is Miguel Cabrera. And home run since 07. 230 for Prince Fielder. Miguel Cabrera, 217 Pujols and Howard in between. Jared Parker back on the hill here for the Athletics. Giving up a run in the first, a run in the third, and the solo home run to Alex Avila. This one, car foul off to the right, and it's 2-1 now to Cabrera. Top part of the order. You're going through the teeth of the Tigers right here. Cabrera, Fielder, and Young. 3, 4, and 5.
Well, they need some support, and Avila has given it. Both Cabrera and Fielder need somebody else to contribute, because chances are they're not going to get an awful lot to hit during this series.
High fly ball to right as Reddick camped underneath with plenty of room, and he puts it away. So the first out of the 6th inning is Cabrera gives it a ride, but he's out number 1 of the 6th. Talked about Avila's home run and the towels that are being waved here in Detroit. Well, some of them are coming from the dugout. The starting pitcher.
A rally towel. You can see that towel being waved in the dugout. That's Justin Verlander acknowledging Alex Avila for that leadoff home run. This is a very tight ball club, and they really have grown together. And that's shot right at the shortstop, and fielder is out. But that gives you an idea when you can have the reigning MVP and Cy Young Award winner waving a towel to acknowledge his catcher for hitting a home run. That's pretty emblematic of what this team is all about. And Prince Fielder was approached by Verlander in Kansas City. Verlander had purchased a watch inscribed to honor Miguel Cabrera's Triple Crown, and he said, "Do you think the team ought to give it to him?" And Fielder says, "No, I think it would be more special to him if you gave it to him individually. You being the MVP, the leader of this team, the Cy Young Award winner." And sure enough, he gave him a watch that said, "Congratulations, Miguel Cabrera, 2012 Triple Crown," and he presented it to him in Kansas City. Cabrera is a big part of this team, not only for what he does, but for the enthusiasm, the energy, and the joy he brings to this ball club playing the game of baseball.
Well, the feat that he has accomplished is incredible. We have talked a lot about the 45 years in between Triple Crowns, but I think the thing that jumps out at me is where he plays his home games and how hard it is to hit home runs in this ballpark. That's the one number that kind of surprised by. Would he be able to get to that? And he did with 44 home runs during the regular season. And this pitch is in there for a strike. It is 5 in a row retired right now by Parker. So he tries to settle in, and Delman Young strikes out. Make it 6 in a row. It's a 10-pitch 6th inning. We're through 6. The Tigers at home on top 3-1. Team Stream, it's the way baseball fans stay in the know. Head over to the App Store or Google Play and download Team Stream now. Well, we head here to the top half of the 7th inning back at Comerica Park. It's game 1, the American League Division Series. Verlander with 105 pitches back on the hill. He's got 9 strikeouts. Second highest total in a postseason game. His career high in the postseason is 11. Struck out the side in order in the 6th inning and has struck out 4 of the last 5 Oakland A's he's faced in the game. Here's Seth Smith. Takes the 0-1 for strike 2.
Verlander's like a throwback pitcher from the era of Marichal, Koufax, Gibson, and Seaver. When he can see the finish line, he reaches back for a little extra. Last inning was his first 1-2-3 inning, and it was the 6th. He knows how to finish.
Swing and a miss. Finishes at 97 miles an hour. High fastball to Smith. That's 10 Ks, 1 out.
Well, look at the challenge Verlander presents. He's got the changeup at 88. Then he can back it off even more. Then if he needs a little extra, 95. That gets Pennington. And 99 gets Moss. I mean, he gives you such a wide variance of velocities, it's difficult to cover.
Mentioned the 11 strikeout game previously, but his second career 10K game in a postseason. And Game 3 against the Yankees, his last. As Norris wanted time and got it. Does not appear to be showing any signs of tiring, despite being up over the century mark here in pitches thrown. Very comfortable as he breaks off a breaking ball there and misses to Norris. It's 61 pitches through the first 3 innings. Misses there, and it's 2-0.
Some of the other finishers around baseball in this day and age, CC Sabathia, Jared Weaver, Matt Cain. You think about the guys like Roy Halladay, Chris Carpenter, when he's healthy, they know how to finish as well. And Verlander, he does it in a different fashion in that he has the ability to crank it up to 100 late in the ball game.
That's 97 and good enough. It's 2-1. And tonight marks the 26th game, regular season and postseason combined, that he's had 10 strikeouts or more. There was a 2-1 to Derek Norris. Then it's 2-2.
The last 2 years, Justin Verlander is truly the king of the hill. 41-13, first in Major League Baseball.
Protective swing, and it's fouled off to the right as he reaches back for 98.
Verlander's whip over the last 2 seasons, 0.99 walks and hits per innings. First again in Major League Baseball.
Norris is gone, and it's by way of the K. That's 5 strikeouts in a row for Verlander. 11 strikeouts in his performance tonight. That is 6 2/3 deep.
That's why you don't worry about pitch count when you have a thoroughbred like Verlander. Just let your eyes tell you what to do. And right now, there's nobody in that bullpen any better than Justin Verlander. So Leyland's just sitting back with his arms folded.
2 down for Pennington. That's out of the 9th spot for the A's. Struck out in the 2nd. He singled in the 5th, 1 for 2. If you're the Tigers, this is the game you've got to have, especially at home, and especially the way the ALDS is now designed, where the back 3 games are headed to Oakland.
Jim Leyland's team has lost the last 3 game 1s in their postseason with Verlander on the mound. They need to win this one psychologically. He is just 3-3 in his postseason career, but that's a little bit misleading. Last year he was charged with a loss with a rainout. He pitched just 1 inning and he couldn't come back after the rain delay. his first start in the postseason. He was 23 against the Yankees, and he just wasn't the pitcher he is right now.
He has struck out 5 in a row. 6 of the last 7. And he's got a 2-2 count to Cliff Pennington. Pennington thought about it, but able to hold off. Full count now. Bounce to the backstop, and he ends up walking Pennington. 4th base on ball served up by Verlander. As Pennington's down to first base with 2 outs here in the 7th. He's at 120 pitches with 2 outs here in the 7th.
Mentioned his season high in pitches, 132. So he's getting near the end of the road. Joaquin Benoit. Mike Rojas, the bullpen coach, letting him know he is ready.
First action we have seen in the pen tonight for the Tigers, as you might imagine. Verlander just walked his 4th batter. It equals a season high. And it gives Coco Crisp a chance here in the 7th with 2 down. And it's chopped to first. Fielder will take it himself to the bag and that'll wrap up the top of the 7th. It's 7th inning stretch. Game 1 of the ALDS from Detroit. Tigers lead at 3-1. Coco Crisp led off the game with a home run to get it started for the Oakland A's. And an error for Jared Parker that leads to the Tigers run that ties the score. This one going the opposite way for Alex Avila's solo shot that gives the Tigers 3-1 advantage. A solo home run and an impressive night tonight for Justin Verlander. Don Orsillo along with Buck Martinez. And Buck, thinking about this game, Verlander through the first 3 innings, 61 pitches. So worried about his pitch count, but in the end, he's throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. It turns out to be his last inning is the top of the 7th.
Yeah, he truly gets himself set for this, and he knows that he's a good finisher, and he'll take it into the 7th. The early struggles with his pitch count have cost him the chance to pitch in the 8th, maybe even the 9th, but Verlander tonight really put the pedal to the metal when he needed to. He had that strikeout of the side inning, and then he really kind of set the tone. Coco Crisp came to the plate. A first pitch changeup. Taking advantage of the adrenaline of Coco Crisp. He gets an easy out with the ground out to first base, and Verlander put his team in position to win. That's exactly what your ace is supposed to do in Game 1.
And we'll turn it over to the bullpen. We saw Joaquin Benoit warming in the pen. He continues to do so as the Tigers come to bat in the last of the 7th inning. And it'll be Andy Dirks who leads it off. Andy Dirks is 0 for 2. His flight out to left and both occasions. Cespedes in left has made the catch as that is ball 1 to Andy Dirks. Parker is throwing 83 pitches. He's been far more economical tonight, but he's on the wrong end of a 3-1 score here. The Tigers on top. That'll miss. 4 strikeouts and a walk for Parker. Giving up 5 hits and the 3 runs. Dirks ahead 3-0. Action now for the Oakland A's, and it is Pat Neshek is up. An amazing story that he is even here at the moment and on this roster for the Oakland A's. And part of the great team that the Oakland A's are. Certainly happy to have him back. The loss of his son just 23 hours after the birth of his son. This is down the left field line. That'll hook foul. And Buck Martinez, I don't know how you bounce back from something like that, but he and his wife have very quickly. They're here. He's on the postseason roster, and this is where he wants to be, back on the baseball field. But for him, thoughts and prayers are certainly with his family.
Absolutely. The worst thing a parent could ever imagine, the loss of a child, and he and his wife Stephanie are here at the ballpark, and they're back with their family. And it's very difficult and very challenging. No one knows what the Nesheks have gone through, but certainly they wanted to be here. And, you know, baseball families are special, and the wives are even more special because they sacrifice so much. And obviously they had a lot of decisions to talk about. Garrick John Neshek is the patch that the players are wearing on their uniform.
Line to the left and in front of Cespedes. Dirks is aboard to start the bottom of the 7th. With more on this Pat Neshek story, we send it down to Jamie Maggio.
All right, thanks, Don. Yeah, just a terrible tragedy for the Neshek family this week. Pat had flown to Detroit with the team, though, on Thursday. It was a lot of his wife, Stephanie, urging him to do so, saying, you know what, we need to get back to the baseball family, as you guys were just talking about. And manager Bob Melvin told me, you know, sometimes when you're dealing with something so terribly tragic, the best place to be is on the field with the support and insulation of your teammates.
Can kind of provide diversion, if you will, if there is such a thing in this instance.
Well, Pat's played a long time, and as a former ball player myself, we are most at ease on the baseball field. There's no question about that. And when you have the challenges of something like losing your infant child, and you go back to what you're most comfortable with, and his wife Stephanie obviously understands that, and she needs the support of her wives here with the A's as well. And you know what, you play your whole life for an opportunity to get in the postseason, and you know you have something like that happen, and you want to be with your baseball family, and I think that's what Pat and his wife Stephanie both decided, and here he is getting ready to possibly pitch in this game.
Interesting that Bob Melvin would like to get him in as soon as possible. And he is first up in the pen tonight for the A's in Game 1 of the ALDS. Throw to first has Dirks diving back to the bag. He's led off this bottom of the 7th inning with a single to left. Tigers put together 6 hits as part of their 3-1 lead, trying to add on to this 3-1 lead in the bottom of the 7th. 0-2 to Johnny Peralta will have to wait. I'm very concerned with Dirks at first.
Dirks doesn't run a lot. He had just 1 steal and 2 attempts, but at the same time, we have seen that Johnny Peralta played hit and run with Delman Young earlier in the ball game and eventually turned it into a strike him out, throw him out double play that ended the 4th.
On the ground foul, and it hangs at 0-2. Outfield for the A's, center fielder Coco Crisp to right center, setting up a good sized gap out in left center field for Peralta should he choose to head in that direction.
It's really kind of interesting with 2 strikes. They're throwing changeups, and Coco Crisp is still on the right field side of center. Throw something off speed to Peralta, and he can hit it into that vacated gap in left center.
Peralta swings and misses at a high fastball. Challenge time there from Parker, and he picks up his 5th K. Second time Peralta's down by way of the K.
Well, that's why you have Crisp on the right side. You know you're going to try to finish the at-bat hard, and that's what they do. 93 upstairs, and Peralta strikes out. They'd thrown him changeups early in the at-bat to set up this final pitch, and Norris does a good job of getting Parker in that strikeout count.
1 out, 1 on for Alex Avila. He has struck out and homered his home run. Gave the Tigers a 3-1 advantage. Avila, who's the starting catcher in the All-Star game last year, 2011, representing the Tigers. Missed 2 games last month with a mild concussion after collision with Prince Fielder, while chasing after a pop-up in foul territory. Spent time in the DL this year with a right hamstring strain as well. Swing and a miss has him down 0-2.
Well, I think Alex Avila would tell you he was fortunate that it was just a mild concussion.
You run into Prince Fielder, you're going to be on the wrong end of it every time.
Every time. Now Jerry Blevins has joined Neshek.
Slender lefty. The 0-2 pitch. This is opposite field and in for a base hit. Cespedes plays it on a hop. Dirks will take second on the second hit of the night for Avila. And it's first and second with 1 out in the Detroit 7th inning.
This is one thing that Jim Leyland told us. He needed some consistent at-bats from the bottom of the order, and tonight Alex Avila has done that. He's 2 for 3 with a homer and a single, and he may have just knocked Jared Parker out of the ball game.
Bob Melvin makes the indication, and Parker gives him 6 1/3. He'll depart responsible for the runners at first and second, and he'll depart trailing in this game, and it is Pat Neshek who is coming into the game. We will step aside and come back with the new Oakland reliever. 3-1 Tigers. Motorola. And the numbers for Pat Neshek as he comes into this game first out of the pen for the A's.
Neshek, 24 games this year and 2-1 record. Very good ERA at 137, and he's got a tough delivery. You can see the opponents have hit just 147 against him. It's difficult for hitters to pick up his release point. They have been facing a conventional delivery in Jared Parker all night long. Now they have to switch gears and try to pick up the release point very quickly against Neshek.
Omar Infante will take a look at strike one. Neshek acquired from Baltimore on August 3rd for cash considerations. Hasn't appeared in a major league game this season prior to the trade. There were 24 games with the A's, as you saw, one short of his total last year. He was with the Padres, and two short of his total from 2008 through 2010 combined because he had Tommy John surgery mixed in. Off the end of the bat, foul, 0-2. His best years coming with the Minnesota Twins. Here in a career high 74 games with the Twins, a 2.94 ERA and 74 strikeouts and 70 in the third with Minnesota. Dirks at second, Avila at first with one out. And the Tigers seventh. And that'll miss. 1-2.
That slider just missed on the outside corner, and you can see then Don talking about the career path of Pat Neshek and the things he's had to deal with. And opportunity to get back with this team, even in light of the personal tragedy, is something that he and his wife decided was the best for them.
And again, playing with a very heavy heart following the death of his son Garrick on Wednesday. Less than 23 hours after he was born, and the A's as a team wearing the patch on the jerseys. Two pitch to Infante as a ground ball up the middle. The Drew is there. A touch second, fired at first. That's late. Infante will reach as Dirks takes third. They do erase Avila at second. But credit Infante for getting down the line and keeping this inning going.
Boy, he really got out of the box in good shape, and Stephen Drew goes quickly to the bag, steps on it, and gets a lot on the throw, but Infante hustled down the first baseline to keep the inning alive. Stephen Drew kind of threw that off the wrong foot, and really his momentum didn't allow him to get braced on that right foot, and he didn't get as much on the throw as he might have.
So first and third, two down, back up top now for Austin Jackson. Jackson with a double in the first inning as he takes a look at strike one. Sets in a pop out to second, a fly out to right, a 1-for-3 night for leadoff hitter for the Tigers. Jared Parker looking on after 6 1/3, still responsible for the men on. He's been touched for 7 hits and so far 3 runs. It's 0-2 to Jackson. Walked 1, he struck out 5. And on the hook.
Well, he certainly kept his team within striking distance, but Oakland just never could get to Verlander while he had a chance to get out of the inning.
Jackson strikes out. That'll end the inning. We played 7. Tigers on top 3-1. Detroit, and this is more than just an outing for Pat Neshek. This is tough stuff as he comes off the field and looks to the sky and taps the patch. Teammate Johnny Gomes, first one to come over.
Nobody can imagine what is going through his mind right now, but obviously a very emotional point in his life. And it will never replace the loss of a child, but certainly baseball will help him get through the grieving.
Stephen Drew leads it off here in the top half of the 8th inning and does so against a new pitcher, Joaquin Benoit. 73 games during the regular season, was 5-3 at 30 holds, led the team and tied for third in the American League in holds. It's in the dirt. So 7 innings tonight from Justin Verlander. 11 strikeout performance. And he leaves after giving up just the 1 run. That's the first batter of the game that got the run, the home run by Coco Crisp in the first. Led off the game with it and gave the A's a 1-0 advantage. It was short-lived. A terrific outing for Verlander, pitcher of record at the moment, as that'll miss. And it's 2-1. Benoit wanted it.
Like so many great pitchers, if you don't get to them early before they really get into the ball game, you'll never get them. And like Verlander tonight, struck out the side in the 6th, 2 more in the 7th. He struck out 5 of the last 7 he faced in the ball game to really punctuate his outing here this evening.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Benoit signing a 3-year deal, $16.5 million prior to last season. Contract signed following a season with Tampa Bay. We had an ERA, a minuscule 1.34 in 63 games. He signed with the Rays, a minor league free agent. And the big contract here with the Tigers. 2-2. Back to him. Benoit run a bit, flip underhanded. 1 down in the 8th. Who will become a legend this October? Cast your postseason legend vote at MLBFanCave.com. Joaquin Benoit has the first out of the 8th. Yoenis Cespedes has walked, grounded out to third, and reached on a fielder's choice. Does not have a hit. In fact, the Oakland A's have been held to just 3 hits in the game as they bat with 1 out here in the 8th. That's a strike.
The one thing we've seen from the A's all throughout the second half of this season is there's not a lot of give up in their dugout. They don't care what the score is or what inning it is. They'll never really hang their heads and feel sorry for themselves. As long as they have a few more at bats, they've got a chance to get back in any ball game. They were down 5-1 against the Rangers in the final game of the season, came back and won that one and clinched the AL West for the first time since 2006. They had a game in New York where they scored 4 in the 13th, only to have the Yankees come back and score 4 in the bottom of the 13th. They lost it in the 14th, but won the next day.
Swing and a miss. Cespedes down 1-2. They are as resilient as any team has been in the majors in 2012. They're trying to bounce back here from a 2-run deficit as they bat with 1 out in the 8th. Cespedes has been quiet in this game and down to the count 1-2. Cespedes to left center field. On the move is Berry. That's going to fall. Berry will play it on a hop. Cespedes with a wide turn at first will hold on with a 1-out single, and that's the 4th hit of the night for the A's, the first for Cespedes.
I don't think Quentin Berry got a real good read on this ball. I think if he takes a better route, he has a chance to catch it. But watch how Berry gives ground initially. Cespedes lines it, and it's not that sharply hit. But I think if Berry takes a more aggressive angle, he's got a chance to make a play on it. But he kind of gave ground and plays it on a hop.
So one out base runner here for the A's. Here's Brandon Moss. Certainly glad to see Verlander gone. Struck out 3 times. He hits this one deep to right field. Andy Dirks back on the track in front of the wall to make the catch. Moss gives it a ride to deep right. But Dirks, with his back to the wall, makes the grab for the second out.
Now, that's how quickly the A's can strike. And Moss just missed tying up this game. He just got a little bit down on the label and didn't square it up. Dirks had a beat on it all the way, and Moss just missed it.
So 2 down here in the 8th. Cespedes at first, and here is Reddick. And Reddick takes a look at strike 1. Brandon Moss, with 21 regular season home runs, is out number 2 of the 8th inning.
Home runs have been a problem for Benoit. He's allowed 14 home runs this season. Home runs in 71 innings. Especially when you're the setup man in the 8th inning.
This season he set a new career high with 73 appearances. 3rd straight year with at least 60, and his 2nd of 70 or more. That's a strike, and it's 1-2 to Reddick. He is the setup man for Jose Valverde. Warming in the pen as this Tigers crowd stands as one. Reddick strikes out. Benoit gets through the 8th. We head to the bottom of the 8th. The Tigers have a 3-1 lead in Game 1. If you're listening to this right now, that means you didn't get tickets to tonight's baseball game. If you did have tickets, then you wouldn't hear us tell you that The Big Bang Theory will return Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights after MLB postseason, only on TBS. Brandon Moss almost with a big bang here in Detroit, but came up just short. And it's a 3-1 Tigers lead as we head to the 8th. Pinch hitting to begin things here in the 8th is Avisail Garcia. As Benoit appreciative of Dirks making the catch on the warning track just shy of the wall and right. He thought that may be gone.
When it came off the bat, it looked like it had a chance. New pitcher for Oakland is Jerry Blevins, the left-hander. He's had a terrific season. 63 games during the regular season. 5-1 record.
Lined and caught by Stephen Drew at shortstop for the first out of the 8th. Time to leap and grabs the first one at the bottom of the 8th. Garcia, the pinch hitter, lining out.
Stephen Drew has made some fine defensive plays here tonight. He took a hit away from Delman Young in the 2nd and takes one away from Garcia as a pinch hitter here in the 8th.
Miguel Cabrera takes a pitch inside from Jerry Blevins. Cabrera has grounded into a double play, 6-4-3 in the first. Walked in the 3rd, flied out to right in the 6th inning. That's a strike, and it evens at 1-1. Blevins with 63 career appearances, equaling a career high for him during the regular season. As Valverde gets ready in the pen for the Tigers. If you've not seen him perform before, it is an interesting act. And it starts from when he leaves the bullpen.
Very animated, and it is a performance.
To left, down the line, towards the corner, and a foul ball. Down by the 3:45 marker in the left field corner.
Miguel Cabrera, we've talked about him all night long, and the tremendous accomplishment of a triple crown. You take a look at this ball. He knew immediately off the bat that that was going to hoop foul. But he's in his 10th year. He's a .318 career hitter. But this year he's at .337 from the 7th inning on.
Lines this foul.
What's so impressive about that is that he is facing the setup guys, the tough relievers, and everybody's making a pitching change against him late in the ball game. And just to make sure you understand the impact of these two guys, fielder behind him is hitting .337 from the 7th inning on as well.
Cabrera goes to right field, down the line. Reddick over towards the line to make the catch for the 2nd out of the 8th. 2 up, 2 down here for Jerry Blevins in the bottom of the 8th, and here comes Prince Fielder. Fielder has fly to left, popped out to 2nd, lined out to short. 0 for 3 night for the Tigers' first baseman as he bats with 2 outs in the 8th. With more on Prince Fielder, here's Jamie Maggio.
Yeah, thank you, Don. You guys were mentioning earlier the relationship between Prince and Miguel Cabrera. Well, when I asked Prince to describe what it was like playing alongside Cabrera, he was almost at a loss for words. Prince says, you know what, I've had the best seat in the house. And he said, as big of a superstar as he is, he's just a regular dude, not a diva, doesn't complain. He's the best hitter and the best teammate.
3-1 Tigers. Valverde will be in. 3-1, Tigers have the lead over the Oakland A's. Buck Martinez, I know you've seen this act before. You've seen plenty of it. Jose Valverde, this is just a routine that he goes through coming from the pen. It's kind of gross, but it works for him.
He does it every time. He doesn't deviate. And then he does this little hop to get himself onto the field, and he's good to go. He jogs in from the bullpen and very animated. And
yes,
if you're going to do that, you better be good.
And he's been successful, 35 of 40. A swing and a miss. Strike one to Josh Donaldson. And staying in the game is Avisail Garcia in right field. Moving from right to left is Andy Dirks after they pinch hit for Quentin Berry. Donaldson leading it off in the 9th inning. A ball and a strike. And Valverde into the game here for the Tigers. 71 games during the regular season. I mentioned 35 out of 40. That's after he converted all 49 of his regular season chances the year before. He actually blew his first attempt of the season on opening day against the Red Sox. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. He's converted 19 of his last 20. And he's ahead of Josh Donaldson, 1-2.
Valverde's had a career-high 47 saves. Actually had 49 here with the Tigers in 11, as you mentioned, and then 47 with Arizona back in 07. So he's been down this road before.
Swing and a miss. Valverde's got out number 1 of the 9th inning. But tomorrow on MLB Network, it's ALDS Game 2 between the A's and Tigers. Coverage begins tomorrow at noon Eastern, only on MLB Network. Go to MLBnetwork.com for channel number. The strikeout for Valverde is the 13th strikeout for Tigers pitching in this game. I mentioned the Oakland A's led the American League in strikeouts, and tonight they have lived up to that. One down in the 9th for Seth Smith. He struck out. He was victim number 10 for Verlander in the 7th. As far as pitching goes, this is exactly how the Tigers wanted to work out. Verlander for 7, Benoit for the 8th, and here's Valverde for the 9th.
Yeah, this is the formula. They get their 21 outs from the starter. And Jim Leyland will send Doug Fister to the mound in game 2.
Don Orsillo, Buck Martinez, and Jamie Maggio coming to you from Comerica Park in Detroit. It's game 1 of the American League Division Series between the Oakland A's, the winners of the West, and the Detroit Tigers, the winners from the AL Central, going head to head. And it's 3-1, Tigers on top as Seth Smith is down in the count, 1-2. We got the Reds and Giants coming up next. $43,323 here at Comerica Park in Detroit. Smith strikes out, 2 down in the 9th.
Strikeouts in a row now for the Tigers. Benoit struck out Reddick to end the 8th. Valverde gets the first 2 here in the 9th.
Pinch hitter here for the A's, George Kataris, pinch hitting for Derek Norris. 2-11 during the regular season. It's time between Milwaukee and Oakland as he stands in. Guitarists will pop it up, and that'll get to the seats for strike one. Pinch hitting for Norris. They've been 0 for 3 tonight. Ball one.
Well, the A's just missed tying this game up. Brandon Moss just missed one off of Benoit that was caught right up against the fence with a man on. That would have made it a 3-3 game. But the reality is the strikeouts once again have hurt Bob Melvin's team.
Guitarists will pop it up right side of the Tigers infield. Fielder in foul ground makes the catch, and the Tigers take it one. They wanted it badly with Verlander on the mound, and it was textbook for the Tigers the way Jim Leyland wanted to draw it up. Verlander for 7, Benoit for the 8th, Valverde for the 9th, and altogether 14 strikeouts for Tigers pitching as they take game 1 at home.
But the experience of Justin Verlander did not allow him to get concerned after Coco Crisp hit a leadoff home run. Verlander never really got settled in until the 6th when he struck out the side. He struck out 5 in a row from the 6th to 2 outs in the 7th, and really showed his pedigree by slamming the door on the Athletics. Over the night, they were able to collect just 4 hits, and the power pitching of the Tigers came through, and the Tigers win game 1 of a postgame series for the first time in 4 series.
Now, tonight's Chevy player of the game is Justin Verlander. And in 7 innings, he gives up 3 hits, just the 1 run, the home run by Coco Crisp, 4 walks. He walked 11 strikeouts in this performance for Verlander. Pitch count was high early, but he gets through 7 innings.
Yeah, he's a horse. He's truly an ace of his staff, and he can strike you out with a changeup, a curveball, a slider, or a 99-mile-an-hour fastball as he did to Brandon Moss early in the game. He is truly one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, evidenced by his Cy Young and MVP from a year ago.
We will step aside and come back with more from Comerica Park. Tigers win this one 3-1. Back with more after this.